etiquette, especially since we're all doing those Zoom calls and Google Hangouts, maybe some FaceTime sessions. So we've started to kind of run into that awkward moment where we might be ready to end the conversation, but how do you end a call without it getting awkward? So this morning we are speaking to etiquette expert SueAnn Brown, who is joining us now with more. Good morning, SueAnn.
Yes, I'll tell you, Zoom has changed a lot of our lives lately. I'm taking a Zoom, trying to learn it. But it's good because we can socialize with it, so it's good.
Well, it's interesting though, because you would think that social norms and normal etiquette would apply pretty much in any situation, but what makes this different?
Well, it's awkward because sometimes people don't know when to speak, and you're looking at people's faces on top of the screen, and it's awkward for us. And I think eventually we're going to get better with it. I just know that there has to be some rules now, some etiquette rules for this as well. And so I think a really good one rule would be to basically put a time on your Zoom video call because the call can go on forever. So if you put a time on it, then you have a time when you can basically excuse yourself politely and say goodbye because you're on that a time of maybe 20 minutes or so forth. So that's always a good thing to remember is to put a time on that video call. You also don't want to use some of these excuses. I was reading some of these online the other day, and I would never do any of these, but your computer, I've heard this, my computer died, I couldn't say goodbye.
Oh,
My connection failure, or just say goodbye. It's so important to still be polite as we are on face-to-face communication. So basically, there's a few things. Somebody has to end the call.
okay.
So, so what are some ways that we can call? We can say goodbye politely. So, be honest and be sincere when you are saying goodbye to somebody over the video. And something probably a good example would say, "Well, it was really nice seeing everybody and catching up, and let's do it next week." And that's always a good way of saying goodbye to people. It makes them feel happy and they remember what you say the last thing you said to them. So that's really important. Another thing I would like to say is, what is everybody doing after they hang up after the Zoom? So that kind of like tells everybody, okay, it's winding up and we need to say goodbye.
Ah.
That's a good one. And you also, if you know that you can't stay through the whole Zoom time frame, it's polite to tell everybody at the very beginning of your Zoom meeting that that you've got something coming up and you've got to leave a little early. So then they're ready for you to sign off, and they
Got it.
don't think you just went someplace and didn't want to be at the meeting.
So
And
you're setting the proper expectation at that point then, yes?
Exactly, exactly. And that's what you have to do because people don't like surprises. And you can also say, we're all now walking, getting out of the house. And a really nice thing to say sometimes is, you know what? I'm going to say goodbye. I had a great time talking to everybody, but I got to get out there and walk before it gets dark. So, and I know a lot of us are trying to get out of the house and for our sanity.
Well, I can certainly see why it would be especially challenging because you have nowhere to hide now on the Zoom calls where usually you could have made an excuse that no one could see, not that you want to be
Yes,
dishonest, but this
right.
certainly presents its own set of challenges. So, and thank
Hmm.
you so much for your insight. We really appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
Thanks.